What's going on, guys? It's Danny from Slow Restoration, and today I made a trip to Harbor Freight, and we did get their 30-inch 5-drawer mechanics cart. This one, you can see all the specs there: 15,000 cubic inches of storage, 700 pounds of total weight, whatever. We just needed a nice little cart, and this seems like a pretty decent one, and it's green. So obviously I like green. We got the car and the truck now. So we have all the parts. We already unboxed it. So pretty much you have the base here, the uprights, some bracketry, some crossbars. Here's a little tray that goes on the side, and here is the box itself. Here's the casters that go on the bottom, and then you have your 2 sets of hardware bags. So we're ready to go here. Let's start putting this together. And there is some directions around here somewhere. Some of the parts are boxed in around. We did actually get one with a broken tag here. Nameplate, the U.S. General emblem, I guess you could call it. So we will have to check on that. We can probably fix it. There we go. But no sense getting it brand new out of the box broken. When you do unbox it, there's a bunch of packaging you got to take apart, and then you have to open this lid. The struts are inside, so once you open this lid, these little things back here will lock these drawers, so you can't open them. But once you open this, then you can there's a lever on the side here. You open this up, and some of the hardware is actually inside the drawers here. So once you get it all unboxed, this is what you're going to end up with. And here is actually the directions right here. Pretty straightforward. It's just assembling. So we're going to start with putting the casters on the base and bolting them on, and then we'll build up from there. And like I said, we're going to put the casters on the base here first. And the hardware kit is the smaller bag. You have your bolts, which actually go down through, so it's smooth. You got to pull the backing here. Bolts go down through. You put your caster on, you'll get a washer and then a nut. So straightforward. Let's just go ahead and get that done. All right, so we got the casters on. Just a quick couple tips. We did have a couple extra things of hardware. I'm sure we'll use that somewhere else. But there's 2 swivel, 2 fixed casters. The swivel are going to go on one end, fixed on the other. Pretty obvious. It does have, grab one of these bolts. They're carriage bolts, and they do fit pretty tight in the hole down through the slot. So if you don't get them exactly right, it'll spin. And worst case is you can take a pair of pliers and grab the head just until you get snug down, and it'll bite. Not really a big deal. Goes pretty quick and easy. Once we have that done, we can flip that down. Now we have a rolling cart. Again, we did take the mat out. We'll plop the mat in. It'll cover up over all this. Next step is to put the uprights on. And we got our mat thrown back in the bottom. The uprights are right here. Now, if you look at that, this center hole here is slightly offset. And also the bolt hole from the top down and the bottom down are a different length. So you can put these on either way, of course, but if you put them on wrong, it's not going to be set right for this when you go to set the top box in. So you can check this one of 2 ways. The way they tell you is measure from the top to the center of that hole on either side, and the 1 3/8 side goes up. Or if this is where your center supports go, and if you just hold it beside this box, you can easily see that lines up. If we flip this over, you can easily see that's way too high. So they're going to go on like this. So we'll go ahead and get these attached to all 4 corners. And when we attach these, you're going to want to use that bigger bag of hardware. The bolts are slightly shorter than the caster bolts, as you can see there. And the nuts have a gripper edge, and they are not nylock. the nylock go on the casters. So we'll separate these for now, and we're going to use these shorter bolts with the flange nut with the little grippers on it. With the uprights on, it's actually starting to look a little bit like something. We have the roll around cart with some uprights. Next thing we're going to do is actually attach these middle bars. So they will go on. So we got this one side put together. The flange does go up. So if we look down on it, you can see how it goes. The tray goes on the side with swivels, because that's also where you're going to put your handle. You could do it however you want, but technically is the way it goes together. So we have these loosely put in. We have this crossbar loosely put in place. So you do have to kind of pry out these uprights this way and this way to get these bolts and all the holes to line up. So it's a little bit of tweaking, helps to leave these loose and then tighten everything up later. And that's how it's going to look. I'll show you the corner here. So this, and the shorter bars overlap the longer bars. The longer bars have the tab that stick up, and the tray on the caster side. And that's the way it's going to look. So next step is actually lift that up onto that. It's going to slide down in between these uprights. And of course these bolt holes will line up with these. All right, we have the box setting in the cart now, and you have to open the lid up to do this next step. So we're going to go ahead and attach these struts. I guess you could do them either way, but I'm doing it as the picture shows in the piston part down. Pretty easy again here. Stud goes through, and you want them on the inside like that. If you go on the outside, as you can see, as you shut that, it's going to hit this bracket. So on the inside, slip that through there. We'll run a nut there and one down here. That, with these struts on, that'll hold the lid up out of the way so we can do this next step. Now, when you set this box in there, it is heavy. It's got some weight to it. They recommend having someone give you a hand with it. You will, again, have to pry these corners out slightly to get the box to drop down, and go ahead, and these casters do have a lock on it, so go ahead and lock them so it's not rolling all around as you're trying to get that to wiggle down through there. So when we put the bolts in through here, you will have to lift up and line that up, but it does also take these corner reinforcing brackets, and they just slide in through here. Again, they are offset one way. Just line it up so when you drop it in there, it lines up with the holes. Obviously that does not line up very good, so we'll flip it around, and that lines up very nice that way. So it needs to go below this folded seam here, and also line up the hole. So we'll get all that mocked up, and once we get to this side, like I said, this handle does bolt on to the caster side, which is also the side with the tray, and it goes to these two lower mounting holes. Once we have everything, all the bolts in, everything is in there, situated, loosely snugged up. Now we can go ahead and go back around and tighten all the top up. At this point, it should sit pretty level. This one actually is a tiny bit off, so we need to adjust that before we tighten up everything. I might have to re-loosen the bottom up there just so this thing sits flat. They do want you assembled on a flat surface. And as you're tweaking these around, making everything work, fit, it can make it out square. So let me re-loosen these bottom up, get this thing to sit nice and flat. So after I went around and loosened all the bolts back up, do yourself a favor, and if you're watching this far in before you start, leave everything loose. You'll have a much better time. As you can see, it sits nice and firm here now. It's a little bit wobbly just because everything's loose, but now it's sitting flat. We can actually go back, snug everything up, and make it 100% now. So there is the finished product. I think the battery died on me there, but as I was saying, the nylock nuts do go on the strut bolts. Just because they do move around, that'll keep them a little bit tighter. The nylock keeps them from backing off. But anyway, it's a nice cart. Gonna be very useful in the shop here. I'm gonna put my tools that I normally use for oil changes, brake jobs, stuff like that in here, so they're nice and handy. And you can, I'm seriously considering maybe putting a piece of wood or something on the top here and making that a workbench. It's fairly stout, it's pretty solid, so I don't think that'll be an issue. I don't know yet. We do have another work surface in here, so, but I have a feeling that's going to end up getting stuff set in there and stored, but I don't know. We'll see how it works out. And of course, you do have spots on either side, right here and right here, for like pry bars. You can put some ratchets in there, I guess, screwdrivers, all that kind of stuff, and they just hang down through here. There's a spot for them, so it works out really nice. Overall, it's a very nicely built tool cart. The casters on them actually are really nice. They're way heavier than they need to be for this, but that's a good thing. So thanks for stopping by. Have a good day. Oh, what are you guys doing hiding in there? Well, since you're here, today we are actually going to show you how to assemble this US General tool cart. It's the 5-drawer version. It's got nice locks on the side here. Makes that drawer stay put while you're wheeling this thing around. It's got plenty of room for tools. Drawers work really nice. Got a spot down here to put stuff. It's got a tray over here. And of course it's got the hydraulic struts on the lid here. Comes up automatically. Pretty sweet. Let me show you how to put this thing together. What's going on, guys? It's Danny from Slow Restoration.